of work in an office structure or otherwise. Joining me right now on set is Alice Njambi, who is a life coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your morning?
Super
Traffic?
fantastic. No. Funnily enough, it's a good day.
It's a good day.
Yes, it is.
I know. And welcome. Let's have our conversation. And let's get straight into it. And even before we start off, there is the vetting of the cabinet secretaries, which will be crossing over from time to time. But they're also looking for work. You know, and they are being vetted. And looking at the panel, that is the parliamentary committee that is mandated to carry out these interviews. What do you think as an employer or as the people who are mandated just to do the verification and the interviews, what is it that they should be looking out for?
That's a good question. And like you said, they're looking for work, yeah? So what they should be looking out for is a performer, you know, someone who's coming in and has a good track record. And I actually saw a few things trending on Twitter yesterday, and it was quite interesting to see some guys are asking very good questions, and some just look like they're attacking the nominees.
Right, and of course we'll be looking at how the story unveils and how the interviews are going to be carried. I believe we already have Kithure Kindiki in right now.
All right.
And as we start off, the workplace, you know, we spend a few of our years at school and then the rest working.
Yep.
And you work until you can work no more.
Yep.
And so then work is a very integral part of our lives.
It certainly is.
And so the attitude towards work, let's narrow it down to just Kenya. What did you say is the attitude towards work of most of us?
I love how you've started it, yeah? From the point of we spend, I think, almost half of our lives at this, doing this one thing. You know, we spend more than half our day with this particular group of people. And I don't think we really are, as Kenyans, as a majority of us, yeah? I don't think we are really intentional, like, in what kind of energy we bring to work. I don't think we are intentional. It's like we do things on autopilot, something that is not just concerning work only, but even in the way we live our lives, yeah?
Right.
In terms of people just show up to work because, yeah, they're expected to show up. People show up because they want a salo at the end of the month, yeah? They're working because, yeah, they want money to pay their bills. But if you ask how many people are intentional, you know, about what they bring to work, how many people are intentional about the kind of energy they bring to work, how many people, like, if you were to just ask today, you know, among the team, who actually thought about work when they were coming and what they want to put in and how they want to be viewed by the others and what kind of output they want, probably you'll find maybe 10% at most.
Right.
And this is not just here. It's just, you know, it's just a common thing among Kenyans.
Across the board.
Yeah.
And work. We have to work so we can meet different...
To eat.
Yes,
Yeah.
to eat. We work to eat. And now, narrowing down to what you choose to do to make a living, to earn a living, then some people, sometimes you have to do a certain kind of a job that you do not necessarily want, but there's not much choice and you have to survive. So given that scenario, then would the attitude be right, and what should be done in such instances?
I love how you've put it, yeah? Because sometimes you're right, we are forced to do certain work that we are not happy or we are not excited about it, but we need it to, you know, make ends meet, yeah? But attitude, like you said, attitude is everything. So it's understanding that, okay, this is the season I'm in, yeah? I might have to, say, clean toilets, yeah? But I'm cleaning knowing, by the way, this is not where I'm meant to be. The end goal is, that means I have a vision. I have a vision for myself, which goes back to self-awareness. Do I even know what I want? How does, if I was to sit and just look at my next 365 days, where would I want to be? But here's the thing, unfortunately, and there's a research that has, that shows 9 out of 10 people think they're self-aware, but only one person truly is, yeah? And self-awareness here would mean that, okay, I understand, even as I'm cleaning these toilets, I have a vision, and that's my destination. And this is just but a journey. There's something I'm supposed to pick here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and show up and be the best toilet cleaner you guys have ever had, yeah?
Right.
But what do? We talk about how life sucks, how, I don't know, the employer is mean, how we are being paid very, peanuts, how our colleagues we are just seeing the negatives in everything. And it goes back to what you said, attitude. Attitude, attitude. Attitude is everything.
Right, and you brought out something very important in that sometimes some jobs which are deemed to be, menial jobs, and people are not very confident about talking about what they do.
Yeah.
So could be it's a cleaning job, could be, the kind of menial jobs that we have, the casual laborers. And so many people would not be proud.
Yeah.
So how would then that affect how they do their job?
Let me give an example, to answer that. Many years ago, when I was in campus, there was this one guy who he used to clean our washrooms, and we would know who has cleaned by just getting in. As in, oh my God.
Must have been doing a very good job.
Oh my God, the guy used to do a fantastic job. You'd hear him singing and cleaning, and he's cleaning toilets, yeah? Then what happened was there were 2 blocks. So when he'd go to the other block to clean, the ladies in this particular block would start complaining, because you can tell when it's other people cleaning and when he's the one who's cleaned. So it started bringing conflict. People are asking, oh, how comes so-and-so has been on the other block for 2 weeks? How comes he doesn't come here? We want ours to be clean. And we started just fighting for him to come and clean, because by the way, when he cleans, yani tutakuwa tu sawa.
Right.
So what did management do? They're like, okay, this is one person. They can't be in both blocks at the same time. So no more cleaning for him. Let's promote him. And he became a matron, just like that. And I remember we're like, okay, we don't know whether to be disappointed.
I'll be happy for him.
Exactly. Or to be happy for him. But for me, that I still hold, and that was like what, probably maybe 15, 20 years ago. But that is one lesson I hold so dear to me. Whatever you have been given, just do it, and do it to the best of your abilities. Because you don't know what opportunities that would open for you.
Right. And it's also just good to be a good human being.
Exactly.
Right. And so once someone gets a job, say there is an interview, and we know how we get ready for interviews. We know possibly what kind of questions are going to be asked. So once you get in and you got the job, now you are ushered to, say, your workstation or the nature of work that you're going to be doing. So the moment you get into a new work environment, what is it that someone should be looking out for?
Okay, so someone has gotten a job, they're very excited. I think before even they get the job, during the interview process, it's just good to understand if someone can be able to do research,
Right.
Because in this age of Google and this social media connection, we can get so much information, unlike before, So if you can be able to research what kind of company, are you getting into, what's their culture like, what kind of policies do they have, what kind of practices, what kind of traditions, so that instead of, and this is what happens, unfortunately for most of us, we don't do that. What we do is, I'm so looking for a job, I don't care. It's almost coming from a point of desperation. I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. Then when I get the job, I find, oh my God, I can't survive here. There's too much toxicity. There's no work-life balance. I'm being asked to work. And this is just thinking of a friend I was talking to the other day. And she works at a hotel. And she was saying, this is not what I signed up for. We are working like 18 hours. I've been standing for the last 18 hours.
Wow.
And after the customers leave, we're supposed to clean before. As in, it's just too much. And I thought about it, I was like, it would have been very interesting if she'd have just gone to that hotel and probably just, as a customer, just to find out how the place is, Because it would have saved us so much what is it called? It would have saved us so much time, effort, energy, you know, anxiety, stress, and all that. Unfortunately, we do not do that. We get into the place and then we start asking, kwani huku kunaendaje? Here, by the way, we expected to work, I don't know, from 8 to 6. There are no leave days, or if you get a leave day, then this is what happens. The boss does micromanaging. You can't even breathe, you know. Right. Employee turnover here. And I'm just remembering someone who told me the other day, I got into this job and I realized, by the way, almost everyone is new. Like, people have just left.
So the turnover is very high.
Exactly. And for me, I was like, okay, clearly there's something off. If you're coming in, and in fact, someone told her, you are here, I wish you all the best.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can imagine what kind of culture is in that place.
Okay. So, and before you even get a job, when you ask these very pertinent questions, which is very vital as well, as a potential employee, are there some instances where when you're not satisfied with, say, how a question was answered, or maybe what the environment is like, you could say no? Yes. That no, I cannot take that job.
Yes. Now the challenge comes in from the point of, if I'm coming in as an employee, most of the time is I really, really, really need that job.
And joblessness
is
real.
Yeah. So I'm more likely to overlook and say, tutadeal nayo baadaye. Instead of, just saying, okay, anyway, I went and, like, I'm just remembering someone mentioning, they went for an interview, and the interview was supposed to be around 9 o'clock. And walikalishwa hapo until 1. And no one is saying anything, they've just been told, wait. Then the guy comes in at 1 o'clock, spends 5 minutes and just tells her off. And she was like, is this really where I want to work? And when she asked, the guy told her off. And it had to take, so much courage from her to say, I don't think that's, okay, I know I'm desperate for a job, but I really don't think that's the right place for me. Yeah.
Right. And of course, so she had anticipated that it could spell trouble.
Exactly.
The moment she gets now on the other side.
Exactly.
Being an employee. And as people get into a company, there's obviously a certain culture that is in that place. Some offices, when you walk in, it's already a very friendly vibe. It's very airy.
Like here.
Thank you. And then there's some offices that there's some uptightness right from the front office person, and even how they will address you. You'll know probably things are not going to be very rosy.
Yeah.
So when you get in as say a new employee, and you have to read the culture. I know, because people have different types of personalities. There's some people who are very chatty. There are people who are very conserved. But when you get into a new space, how should you be behaving?
The first thing I would advise is to just observe, It's good to, when you get into a new place, just observe first and learn how things are done, So that you can understand, okay, so how do I come in? How do I fit into this matrix, Right. And back to, if you had done just a bit of research, then it will be easier for you, because you already know, like you're saying, the place is friendly. I've had a chat with the boss, and we've talked about this and this, and these are my expectations. If you haven't done that, then the first is just observe. Then ask. Always say there are no stupid questions, So feel free to ask. Don't be afraid to ask, okay, so how comes we are working from, I don't know, 8 to 6, and the contract said it's 8 to 5 or 8 to 7. So am I being compensated? What are because the thing about culture and the thing about most people, you get into a place, then you find things are being done that way. So you don't ask. You don't ask, but you're so stressed by the same...
You just go with it.
Exactly. You go with the flow, but you're so stressed by the same flow. So what happens? Within a few months, people are leaving. People are exiting, because you're thinking, okay, is being done in this place. And that's why you'll find, unfortunately, for many companies that have a high employee turnover, they don't even, there's no exit interview. No, why are you leaving? Because if you give me feedback as to why you're leaving, because I don't know, your boss was not supportive, your boss was micromanaging you, the culture was not conducive for you, then as a company, we can be able to work on it. But most of the time, this comes from the leadership. They're not interested. So you're here to work. The rest is ETC. If you can't work, yeah, toko wende, right. Unfortunately.
Okay. And so when there are challenges, say an employee is facing, and there are many times, like you've mentioned, you go with the flow. But now many people, again, do not realize their rights, the power they have as their employee.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be for someone who is not comfortable and they want to address issues in an office environment?
That's a good question. Communication. Communication is everything, yeah? And even as I'm communicating, maybe I'm not happy with how some things are being done, or I'm not happy with how I'm being addressed, or how, you know, if I'm not happy with one or two things, yeah? Then the best thing to do, instead of keeping quiet and going to tell my neighbor or my husband or my children, or going to Facebook and saying this, you know, unfortunately, that's what we do. Instead of addressing the issue, we tell everyone else who's not involved,
right,
apart from the person who we should be telling. So communicate. And communication here is so important, yeah? Because I can't come to you and say, but you, what's wrong with you? Why do you give me nini nini? You know, it's...
Why do you give me attitude?
Yeah, that's a good example. See, it's for me to understand, okay, when is the best time to approach you? You know, and the way I will put my concerns will either make you want to listen to me, or you'll just shoo me off.
Okay, so it's not just about saying, I'm uncomfortable. Is how, again, you express it.
Exactly.
So that is also very vital.
Very, yes.
Okay, because there are some instances when people say when you come sideways, you're going to get or you're going to get. So how you address and articulate issues is also just as vital as seeing them out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And sometimes you would have maybe a colleague or boss, a manager who you have used that approach, you've gone, you've humbled yourself, you've had a good conversation, but they don't care. They don't care because suliwa patapo, yeah? Or they're your senior. So they're using their superiority to harass you, so to speak, yeah? So if that is the case, you've communicated and it's not working, document it. Okay. Write an email, you know, I am not comfortable with 1, 2, 3, such that if this was to go forward, then there's evidence, there's reason. I was not happy on this day because, yeah, you shouted at me in the meeting, and I mean, we are not here to shout at each other. Can we learn how to communicate better? So just document it.
Right. And of course, for productivity, this is also one area. And in different companies, there's definitely some offices where people work from the moment they get into the office, depending on the nature of work, as well as some offices, as many people used to say, some government jobs, then there can be a lot of time wastage. So to increase productivity, so this is both from the employee themselves as well as the employer, how can productivity be maximized?
That's a good one. Goes back to communication. You know, there has to be very clear direction and expectation. So if I'm coming in, this is what is expected from me. So even the boss, when they're giving me, my JD is very clear. So such that I can be held accountable. So the first one is clear direction. You know, we have to have open communication so that I know what is expected of me. Then I have to be held accountable. So at least this is what you're supposed to be doing. Your JD says this is the output you're supposed to. So let's have, you know, either a review or you're accountable. You can't come and say, but then you didn't know what you're supposed to be doing. Right. If open communication also means I can be able to come in and ask you for help. I'm having a challenge here with this particular client. So please, I need help here. So good communication, support from the team leaders or management, and of course accountability is very important.
Right, and there are some bosses who might think you're not being productive when you're not on your computer, depending on the nature of work again. Because like for us journalists, we could be standing out there, but we're still working, depending on the work environment. And so maybe a boss could think you're not being productive because they don't see you on a computer, on a story, or on... So does someone have to look busy for them to give a good output?
Good question. That's where I was going to go. There's a very big difference between being busy and being productive. Right. Yeah, busy, you can be busy, just on your computer the whole day, but there's nothing that you've done. Yeah, so if you have a manager who is more concerned with you being busy than you being productive, then there's something off there. They're the ones who are on the wrong, because at the end of the day it doesn't matter whether I stand there the whole day. Yeah, what matters is my output. So if my output is lagging behind, then I should be able to answer why I was standing there the whole day. So whether I take, 2 hours to finish what I'm supposed to do in 10 hours, yeah? So long as I have done my work and done an excellent job. So it's not just finishing in 2 hours and doing a shoddy job. Right. No. I've put in 2 hours of excellent work, and that is what I was expected. That was my output. Then I don't need to spend 10 hours trying to look busy. In fact, a good boss would notice, I gave Alice this job, expected at finishing 4 hours. She finished in 2. Wow, it says something about her. Maybe she's proactive, she's a fast learner. So how can I coach her to even get better results, to be more productive? Maybe I can give her more work. And as I'm giving her more work, I'm giving her incentives such that it doesn't look like I'm being punished. I'm being punished for being efficient.
And I think that is something else we want to talk about, just how to motivate. But we'll be coming back with that after this very short break. You are watching The Morning Drift. Don't go too far.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly 1-year installments plan.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Welcome back. You are watching The Morning Drift. Nancy Nalima here, and today we are talking about work while we are working as well. Alice Njambe is right here on set with me. She is a life coach. And let's continue the conversation, Alice. And we were talking about motivation. There's after many months, could be hours, could be weeks of working, then sometimes that graph could go down because you can be doing what you've been doing for so long, and then the same way, and so the motivation could go down for the employee and the employer. There's need for that motivation for productivity to be enhanced. So what would you say in that instance?
And motivation is a very huge part, of productivity, of just encouraging employees to perform better and to be more productive, So it's really important that an organization or a company learns how to motivate its employees, And there are various ways they can go about this, The easiest one that is coming to mind now is recognition. We all love being recognized for our efforts, So if you're that type of manager who never gives credit where it's due, it's very demotivating. It would be very demotivating for me to work on a report, the whole night. Then my manager presents and, they're clapped for and they never mentioned how much effort I put in, I've seen some companies doing this, like you walk into their maybe reception and you find a picture of someone on the wall, It's very simple, but it's a very powerful form of motivation. Employee of the month. It says someone saw, someone saw the kind of effort I put in. Someone recognized me. Just even having, and I think when it comes to motivation also, it's good to learn what people want, So I could be putting that, and probably what people want is 2 hours off. What people want is more money. So it's good to learn. So how can I, and the best way to learn is for just a manager or the team lead or management, the leadership to just ask, how can I support you better? And as I'm saying this, I remember we had a boss, and the guy was quite amazing because we used to have meetings and he'd be like, so how can I support you guys? I was in sales. And of course we'd say, we want better pay, we want better commission structures, we want entertainment, requisition for clients. And I was like, okay, fine, that sounds very good. But even as I support you, you need to give me something back in return, So your targets have to go up because how are we going to pay you? So, and it was so motivating in terms of, fine, as much as your targets are going up, your commissions are going to go higher. So even as I work, I'm not just thinking, oh my God, my employer just wants to, milk blood out of me. It's like, no, that's what most people think. Huyu employer anataka kunimaliza. But when, there's win-win in both situations. So the more I'm putting my effort, my energy, my resources, my time here, I'm also being rewarded for it, It's a very good way of motivating employees.
Right. So then you say it is a transaction. You've got to give something extra for you to get something extra.
Exactly. Okay. I think in any situation, and not just there, it has to be a win-win, If you're having a conversation and you feel like you have lost, even though I think I have won, we have both lost. Because collaboration is always better than competition. Collaboration is always better than confrontation, Because we have, sometimes we have teams that the culture is just, you've been let kila mtu afanye chenye anataka, so long as at the end of the day you bring your targets in or you do your work, we don't care how you guys relate, You find, it's so much better when you work as a team, And just thinking of the same, I remember we had been given an incentive of course, there's a better commission structure. And then we had been told, if the whole team everyone hits their targets, then you get an extra, was it 10K or 15K?
Right.
Let me tell you, we used to
work around the clock.
Yes, we used to call each other. Have you sold? Have you sold? okay, how can I support you? I have a client. Do you know? And it was just amazing, just seeing how one thing, yeah, can make a team work together, and how if that wasn't there, you wouldn't care whether your colleague is at 0 and you've sold 10 million. Yeah.
So the collaboration,
Exactly.
teamwork.
Exactly, teamwork.
Okay, and as we continue talking about motivation, then the issue of mental health comes into picture. And at least now more and more companies, even just Kenyans at large, are acknowledging that mental health is very important. And so for the employer to the employees, what are some of the measures that they should be taking just to safeguard the mental health of their employees?
I've clapped because I am so enthusiastic about mental health, yeah? Let me share a story that a friend of mine shared probably 2 or 3 days ago. And we were talking about her former place of employment, yeah? And she told me, by the Alice, the way I can describe that place was hell.
Whoa.
I was like, oh yeah, that's a very strong word to use. She's like, what? People are waiting to go to hell. They should come and see.
It's right there.
Yeah, wasiende mbali, let them just go work there and they will know, they'll get a taste of hell. And for someone to say that, yeah, they have to, you know, it has to be really, really weighing heavily on them, yeah? And she said, I had to walk out. I noted at some point I was losing my sanity. I just woke up one day, picked my bag and left. And I never looked back, I never went back, I never sent an email. And this is someone who I would not expect them to do such a thing. So for them to have pushed to that point, yeah, it says so much. Then there's this that she said that really, for me, stood out, yeah? She said the work was not bad, the environment wasn't bad, it was the leadership. The leadership was just off. Very unsupportive, very demeaning. They used to talk to them like kids, to the extent she was like, okay, yeah, this one, it's like I bring myself here to drive my own mental health off the cliff every single day, yeah? So like you're mentioning, mental health, mental well-being is so important when it comes to organizations supporting their employees to, you know, better take care of themselves. But most of the time you find in what we call toxic workplaces, yeah? That's when people struggle. In places where there's too much stress, yeah? And too much stress could be too much work. You have a boss who's micromanaging you. Right. There are no ways of resolving conflict. You know, there are unfair work practices. Like you could find, I have put in so much effort because there are opportunities for promotion coming up. And then the boss decides, because so-and-so is their friend, au ndio watapata. No, that's unfair. Or it could be maybe the boss is, when I make a mistake, yeah, the boss is going for my neck. But when they make a mistake, or when someone else who's their favorite makes a mistake, then they allow them to get
the treatment is different.
Exactly. So those are the things that, you know, just add more stress and more negativity to the workplace.
So then for the employer, how should they make sure that they reduce toxicity, you know, greatly in this office space?
The main thing is communication, you know, open communication, open feedback where I can be able to have a conversation, you know, with either my colleague or with someone else and saying, okay, I don't like how we are doing things around here. Can we try and do this? Then even having a system where you can be able to resolve conflict, you know, that there are procedures that, you know what, if I come and talk to you and we're not able to solve, we can go to our manager. If our manager can't be able to resolve, we can go to, you know, there are systems that have been put in place, yeah?
But Alice, there's this thing, a lot of people fear conflict resolution. They loathe confrontation. And so you're just like, I'm gonna have to put the other person on the spot. And since I don't want to be in anyone's bad books, so I'd rather just, you know, pretend it didn't happen, which will in the long run affect you and even how you work.
Yeah.
So how to approach conflict, how to resolve it many people just shy away. So how exactly should people be handling conflict?
That is so true, because we find when we are doing conflict management trainings, yeah, you find that most people do exactly that. They either sweep things under the carpet. You know what, I'm not going to pick it up because I don't know how she's going to react. Or they just keep quiet, but they become passive-aggressive. So I'm mad at you, but I can't approach you and tell you, but nakutafuta. You know, the day you're going to just, then I will be on your case.
Which becomes even worse.
Yes, which becomes even worse. Maybe I'll come and just, I don't know, I'll be passing there and just, you know, knock your glass, and because you have been holding a grudge against me then. And I'm thinking, my God, it's just a glass. You're thinking, no,
there's so much more.
Exactly.
Right.
So what we do, the first thing we do in training is open communication. No, just put people around. And the thing about communication is people have to feel safe. This is a safe space. Whatever you say will not be used against you.
Hello.
And the same, just teaching people how to take feedback, because most of us take feedback as criticism.
Right.
You're
Especially if you don't say good things about me,
Yeah,
then I'm
yeah.
likely to get mad.
Exactly, exactly. So even teaching, how do you give feedback? So if I think you're doing very well, but there's something that you can improve, how do I come and tell that? You know, how do I come and tell you that? Or do I come and tell you, unafanyaga hizi vitu? You know, it's just learning how to communicate. And it's amazing that we're always communicating, yeah? We started communicating when we were babies, when we were crying for milk and all that. We've been communicating for the longest. But if there's one thing that people don't know how to do, is to communicate.
Right.
And that's why there's so much conflict, because there are no open lines of communication. There's no trust, because for there to be an open line of communication, it has to be, I trust you and you trust me. But is the company, is the organization setting, you know, a kind of atmosphere for that? Or I can't even come to my boss and tell them, by the way, I need support because I'm really slow at, I don't know, there's this software that I have to use and I'm really having a hard time getting it. Can I get support? If I don't feel like, if I came and told you, you will support me, if I feel you'll just use it to attack me and my performance, then I won't come to you.
Right.
So communication is so important.
And as you talk about resolving conflict, then there is sexual abuse in the work environment and the office setup, which has, you know, we've seen so many cases have been reported. We've reported them actually, even in our news. And a way to approach it. How can someone approach it? Because sometimes when it's from colleague to colleague at the same level, it's much easier.
Yeah.
But when it comes from someone high up, going down, then it can be a little complicated to handle that.
Yeah.
But this is a real issue, and it's even criminal. So how can it be addressed in a workspace?
As you're just talking about it, I was thinking about something that someone told me, yeah? And they were really stressed out when they reached out. And they noticed at their workplace, it's like sexual harassment is not a big deal. It's like it's what goes on. And when she got in, she didn't know that. Then, like you're saying, the colleague was just, you know, throwing very snide comments, very funny comments at her, and she wasn't comfortable. So she decides, okay, I need to just take this up to the boss. Then she's going to get into the boss's office. Then the boss comes from behind and just grabs her behind.
Wow.
And she told me she was so stressed out because she was like, okay, clearly this issue is bigger than I thought. So if I'm coming to, you know, just tell on this guy that he's making snide comments, and this guy has the audacity
To do it physically.
Exactly, because now he's a senior.
Right.
Then clearly kesi yangu hapa hakuna mtu atasikiza. And she told me she was so stressed to the point she used to think of going to work, she starts hyperventilating. You know, she starts getting headaches. And I was telling her, by the way, this is not good for your heart. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for your body. You're going to get ill. And being in such a situation, and like you're saying, it's not a case in isolation.
Right. Unfortunately,
For some companies like that one, it's like an everyday thing. So if you're there, fine, she left, but then what next, yeah?
So what becomes of the future of the people who work there?
That was her question. You know what? I can leave, I can look for another job. But there's a girl, in fact, there are girls who I saw and they had shrunk. They had become, you know, a shadow of themselves because they're thinking, I need this job, but I'm not comfortable. And so if you're in that kind of a position, the first I always advise is communicate, yeah? Because there are people who, we think common sense is common, but it's not common to everyone, yeah? Right. So just being expressive. I'm not comfortable. Don't touch me. Don't speak to me that way. I don't find it funny. I don't find it professional. Just, let's
So regardless of the position of the person.
Exactly.
Like you should be able to say
exactly.
No.
Yeah, no, stop it. I'm not comfortable. Don't touch me that way. You know, I am not... Just communicate, yeah? You'll find that most bullies, yeah, because that is a form of bullying. When you stand up, a bully will probably just take a few steps back, yeah? So communicate.
But there are also some instances, Alice, where someone is new in the job environment and it could even be someone on internship. So for someone who's maybe still a student, then... as you grow older, then you become more confident. But maybe when you're 22, 23, then it could be a little harder. Okay. So for that person, then, how do they make their voice heard?
By reaching to someone else. Reaching out to, if I was in that company and I am way older, I'm way older than 22, trust me. Then it's just... still the same communication. Communicate. Say, you know what, so-and-so did this and I'm not, so that you have someone who's backing you up, yeah? Communicate and then document. Send an email. And like you're saying, most of the time, people are taken advantage of because someone is either in a senior position and they feel like they cannot speak up, which is a lie. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which position you're in. You have the right to express yourself. And like you mentioned earlier, I think most of these things happen because people are not aware of their rights, yeah? Like, for example, the intern would think, guy, it's just God niko hapa. But God didn't take you there to suffer or to be harassed or to be abused. No. But it's just not knowing that you have a right to speak up, even if you're an intern on no pay. You're a human being first, and you have your rights as a human being before you even get to the workplace. Right. And I think that's the biggest challenge, yeah, of speaking up. And especially this is such a sensitive matter because even as a people, we don't talk about it. We don't speak up. You'll see your colleague being harassed, then utapita too because it's not you. But you don't know, that will be you tomorrow, If she's being harassed and you can see by the way she cannot speak up, just walk up to the guy and say, hey, what are you doing? She doesn't look comfortable, or just, if you don't want to be that direct, you can just go stand there and ask, Alice, are you okay? Helen, are you okay? Right. And you stand there, such that the other person feels uncomfortable. Those kinds of, nimekuona vile unakaa and I don't
I see
like
you.
It. Exactly.
Okay, I believe that was well addressed. And now the issue of office politics. Politics, people say, I don't like national politics, but politics is part and parcel of our lives. In whichever space of work, could be the office setup, could be the media industry, could be even for casual laborers, people who are construction workers. Politics is everywhere. Yep. And there's sometimes a way that these people are ganging up against one person. Someone could lose their job over things that could be said in the office. So, and sometimes you can't walk into a space where the politics, and even in government offices that people say there's too much politics. One day you could be in, the next you're out, based off on who likes you, who doesn't like you. Yeah. So how should you approach this?
That's a good question, yeah? And like you mentioned, office politics are unavoidable, whether you like it or not. They will always be there, like you said, yeah? Whether you like it or not, it will affect you. So it's not an issue of avoiding or running away from the politics, but it's more of learning how to navigate. So, for example, if you have this person, the office gossip, we all have that, yeah? The person who has tea on everyone.
411.
Exactly. So when they're coming to you to tell you about, I don't know, who did, how are you taking that? Are you giving her more tea? Because just know, if you're sitting and entertaining her, you'll be the next one, you know. When they come and sometimes you'll find people just wanagongeshana, you know. They'll come and tell you, so-and-so said, I don't know, your shoes don't look nice, or your hair, or, you know, something totally irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah? And you start disliking the other person. It's very easy to just manage this politics, yeah? But you have to have this understanding of how do you manage. And for example, yeah, if it's in such a case, yeah, and it would be just interesting to say, but I don't want to have this conversation unless Alice is there. In other words, those things that you're telling me, those bad things you're telling me about her, because I'm sure she has something to say.
So employing some wisdom.
Exactly. That's the word, wisdom in it.
And so sometimes you could be, say, the victim, quote unquote, and maybe there were things that were said about you, and maybe you didn't say them. So when you are defending yourself, again, how do you go about it?
That's a good question. And I was thinking of someone who was telling me, and my God, because I was getting tired, yeah? Like, oh, so-and-so came and said, and then I was told they said, and they said, and okay, and they were all negative things, yeah? And they were taking it so personally that they were even, like, getting stressed about it. I was like, you just need to cut this, you know? Just have very open communication. I know you have some things to say, and I'd appreciate, instead of telling other people, if you have something against me or something that you want to share, I'd appreciate if you came straight to my face and just told me.
So at the end of the day, we have to be better communicators.
Exactly. Communication.
There's no other way
everything.
around it.
There's no other way around
There's no
it.
way you'll wake up one day and it'll be a perfect role.
No. Unfortunately, no, we have to work at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and now I'm seeing our time is running out, but let's talk about office romance, because it's a society. People meet, people are good looking,
Yeah.
people have values that you relate with, and so there could be romance brewing. So how should office romance be approached?
Okay. I think it will depend on the company, because there are company policies. Like people say, you will never know where you find love, yeah? But it depends on the company policy. There is a company policy that does not allow for either teammates or people in the same company to have office romance.
Right.
So ukipatana na mtu enye, but this one inaeza, and I actually know someone who had to leave because they discovered, okay, fine, there's something here, and it's something that can be explored, and it looks like it can, it's something that can work, yeah?
Lead to something.
But exactly, but policy here doesn't allow. And we can't go sneaking because, I mean, mapenzi fichiki, people will find out, and we're going to lose our jobs. So how about then one of us needs to leave? So if company policy does not allow, then for sure, then you cannot go sneaking. That's a lack of integrity, right? And if it's against policy, then it will catch up with you. Then the other, if there's no policy that says people here can't fall in love, then the two need to know that you cannot make other people feel uncomfortable in the office, yeah? Your office romance cannot affect your productivity or your output. So it just goes back to communication. So how, it's just that awareness and understanding of, I'm here to work and this is what I'm supposed to put in. And in terms of the office, when I come in, this is what I'm expected, nini, romance tutachukua later. So it's not like thinking you have a boss and, okay, because I am having a thing with the boss, even when we're having office meetings, when he asks me questions, I just go like, sio jijibu in front of everyone else.
Right.
No, that's not allowed.
So again, you need to employ some wisdom.
Exactly.
And also just be aware.
Self-awareness.
Exactly.
Self-awareness, yeah.
And as we wind up, then there are goals that we set for ourselves. Say in the next 5 years, I'd love to own my own TV station, for example. And so when you are working at a certain place, at a certain job, and you have your job description cut out for you, should you be writing goals every other time, even when you know that this is the specific type of work that you do? This is what you do on a daily basis. You've done it for like 3 years, so you know the flow.
Yeah.
Should we still have goals?
Yes. Why? Because the way I look at goals, goals are like a guiding compass. You know, it's one thing when you wake up and you have a compass giving you direction. Then you know if I'm supposed to head north, I'm heading north. And you can be able to tell, okay, I've gone a few degrees to the west, so I need to go back here. Or maybe I should go to the west, yeah? But imagine walking with no goals, walking with no compass, walking with no direction, yeah? It doesn't matter that you knew how to walk since you were a child. You'll be heading nowhere. So goals are very important. And if you can be in a position to align your own personal goals with the company's goals, yeah, then even better. If you can be able to even see, okay, this is where I'm at, yeah? Like you're saying, this is where I'm at, this is the position, this is what I'm supposed to do, but my goal is 5 years, I'm having my own TV station. You know, it will motivate you. It will even motivate you when you're coming here. Because, you know, by the way, I'm here, but just, you know, temporarily, because that's my destination. And as I'm here, I'm building networks. You
need to perfect this for you to get there.
Exactly. I'm building networks. These are people I'll work with UKO when I'm running my own station. Yeah. So when you come in, even your mind is in the right place. The output that you're going to put in, you're very intentional because you know where you're headed. And like, umekuja tu, you know, like, yeah, I'm here because I'm expected to be here.
Right. And thank you so much. I believe the conversation is not yet complete. We'll still have you some other time so we can just talk about work, because we spend a lot of hours at work.
A whole lot.
So then we need to get it right.
Yeah, almost half of our lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alice Njambi, life coach. And that's the end of our morning conversation right here on The Morning Drift. I am Nancy Nalim, and I believe we've got a thing or two about the workspace environment and just the culture, how to still have goals and take home communication. Communication is the heart of it all. And I will be ushering Simba, who's going to be coming up next to take a look at all the day's business. Good morning.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused